Before y'all come for me, just hear me out. Nintendo, washed up? More like outdated. How are we 2 generations behind as a console, with these old characters like Mario and Luigi still playing like they was playing in the 70s, jumping and hitting blocks and all that? Come on, man. Where we have PlayStation and Xbox still giving us high quality games, upgrading every year, fantastic graphics, fantastic gameplay, fun and engaging, and still giving us innovation. Nintendo, I love you, but it's time that you come into the modern era. This is Trial by Fandom, and today we are going to decide whether Nintendo is outdated. All right, bro, listen. I just don't think Nintendo is it anymore, man. I think they're way behind in their days. They're way stuck. Like, they got to give us something different, bro. What they keep giving us is either broken, the same, or whack, if I'm being honest.
I disagree, man. I mean, Nintendo has always been the family-friendly genre of gaming. I mean, you can't say they aren't.
Okay, family-friendly is cool and all that. Their own numbers that they put out themselves don't even show that family-friendly is like it. Their own report from 2021, their own company report, internal report, said that the majority of their player base, let me rephrase that, user base, is between the ages of 20 and 25, peaking into the 40s. Anyone under that doesn't even register as a user. I'm not talking about the people that buy it, okay? I'm talking about the people that use the console. It doesn't stack up, bro.
I mean, yeah, that may be, but core sales-wise, holidays, okay? Like, you can't say the Nintendo Switch doesn't sell out just as fast as the PlayStation, as the Xbox, because what do people want? Pokemon, Mario.
Oh my God.
Mario Kart.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, kids. That's the season for the kids. I mean,
is it the season for the kids, or are they really just capitalizing on the fact that they have the cheapest console during the holiday season, and they have the only, well, I won't say the only, it used to be the only, but they have one of the only ones that has a 2-player game in the box. The only other one I can think of that does that is PlayStation with 2K.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that is true, but let me go back to the kid thing. What other console can you buy that you don't have to buy an extra controller, technically? Saving on cost. That's a key point right there. I mean, the Joy-Con by itself, not as good as like a PlayStation or Xbox controller, but come on. You're gonna buy your kid a Nintendo Switch just because they're most likely gonna have siblings.
That's still, I don't know if that's a good reason to say like it's like not outdated though. Like, just because you offer something doesn't mean it's not outdated. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the outdated portion, but as a consumer,
okay,
as a buyer,
okay,
I'm looking to get the best thing for myself, just like as a casual gamer or just something I want on the go. You can't get that in a PlayStation or an Xbox.
My second point, though, I'd like to bring up about why I think Nintendo is outdated. They're losing their key demographic, to bigger preferences right now currently in the gaming market. FPSs. You got your Fortnite, your Apex, what have you. Competitive games. The kids, I'm 33. The kids, like, the kids, man, they don't care about Nintendo, man. Like, if it is not a competitive game, if they can't get on and get the battle pass and grind with the boys, pause. If they can't get on and play with the homies at the end of the night, they're not trying to play it.
I understand that, but Nintendo does have Fortnite. It's not the best quality of gameplay, but it is Fortnite, so they can capitalize on that. I mean, who knows what the Switch 2's capabilities are going to be?
That's true.
It's rumored to play like, to perform, I should say, like the PlayStation 4 Pro.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. PS4 Pro.
I mean, that was a good console at the time. It was good. I mean, it was 60 FPS, 4K, which is way more than Nintendo Switch OLED is right now.
Fair. I don't know, though. Like, first off, PS4 Pro, when we're getting into the age of, like, if we're talking about a PS4 Pro quality console, a few days after Hideo Kojima shows off Death Stranding 2, what are we talking about, bro? Like, don't get me wrong. Like, But come on, man. Like, that's for the next segment. Specifically, I don't know if the kids are going to be like geared to picking up a Switch 2 so that they can play their Fortnite or their Call of Duty or stuff like that. Nintendo doesn't market like that. You know, they've always been, again, family friendly. They always want to market to, you know, the kids, the family type game. I don't see, even if it does become another like multi-genre console, I don't see them really marketing those games out to their audience like that. I don't see Nintendo having the Nintendo Direct showing off Mortal Kombat 2. I don't see it happening, man.
Yeah, okay. All right. But I mean, you got to think of what Nintendo has been to where it could jump to.
Okay.
So, based off the specs, the rumored specs, from what we have in the Nintendo Switch, as long as it's been out, that significant performance jump, people are still going to be like, wow, I can play Mario Kart in 60 frames. You know how good Mario Kart is going to look in 60 frames?
It's going to look real good. It's going to look real good.
Right. And that's just going to boost the consumer count by itself because of the graphics.
You know what? I will happily concede to that point. I think Nintendo absolutely could kind of maybe like boost their marketing a little bit, show off a couple of those things, and especially if they're going to finally be able to, I won't say compete from a technological standpoint, since they'll finally be able to kind of show off a little bit, 60 FPS, we're thinking switch to 1440p, handheld 1440p, okay, maybe, but I have my concerns, but okay, I can concede that point. I can absolutely concede that point, but I do not think you're going to beat me on my fact number 3.
Okay.
This is an undeniable fact. Nintendo themselves have come out and said it, all right? They don't care about esports. And we are in a day and age where esports is absolutely dominating gaming, all right? With the resurgence of not resurgence, but with Marvel Rivals popping up and finally actually starting to get an esports scene, all right? Envy's got a team, Luminosity is picking up a team. With all that going on, Call of Duty League still going strong. I think it would be remiss of us to not bring up the fact that Nintendo has actively suppressed their competitive and esports community.
Okay, I will concede to that. Just because, to be honest, the only competitive, I can't even call it esports, the only competitive genre they have is Pokemon.
They got Splatoon.
But it's not as big as Pokemon.
It's not as big.
Their main competitive game is Pokemon.
And you know what? Not to cut you off, I wouldn't even attribute that to Nintendo. I would attribute that to the Pokemon Company. Game Freak.
Okay. All right.
Just a thought.
Yeah, but I mean, what can you play Pokemon games on only, though?
Nintendo consoles.
Exactly. So they have a big hand in that still.
They have a huge hand in it. And that's exactly why I think it's ridiculous that they don't invest more into their competitive side. Especially everything that goes on with the Smash community. You know this. You're a fighting game player. The Smash community is severely ignored by Nintendo. If I remember it correctly, I think the CEO even came out and said, Nintendo president Shintaro Furukawa himself came out and said, while esports are dope and we support all types of gaming, basically that's just not our vibe. That's not where we're at. And that's cool. As a president of your company, that's cool. Say whatever you want to say. It's your company. Have whatever views you want to have. But to then also completely suppress community tournaments, not support them, in a huge game in the fighting game community, especially when we're talking about Melee, leave Ultimate aside, let's talk Melee, to completely suppress that community instead of uplifting it, throw in some prize pool, I think it's just sad in my opinion, for Nintendo. I got one final piece of evidence to prove that Nintendo is outdated. Now, we've talked about it briefly. Almost in every single one of these little facts, we talked about it briefly. But the final undeniable fact that Nintendo is outdated is the hardware. They've been sued because of the Joy-Con. You can buy a new Joy-Con out of the box, and in a month, you're going to have stick drift. originally, what was it, 720p or 1080p?
Yes.
And then to just give us another 1080p
Yep.
OLED? A 1080p OLED? A 1080p OLED. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
It's crazy, man. The battery barely got an uplift. The coolest thing about the Nintendo Switch OLED upgrade was the damn kickstand.
Yeah.
Solid kickstand. Really good kickstand, man. Like, solid kickstand. Like, I love it.
Yeah.
But it should have been great to begin with. What was the kick? This was the kickstand.
Yep.
One of them. One of them. Come on, bro. This is crazy. Nintendo loves the idea of, guys, let's come up with one thing and run on that.
I mean, I agree. I mean, to be honest, the hardware could be done a lot better. But there are some minute, great differences.
Minute.
Yes, minute. The resolution on the OLED, even being 1080p as an OLED, it's still a lot more vibrant than the original Nintendo Switch. I will say that. And just from me playing Arceus on an older Switch and the Nintendo Switch OLED, there is a drastic difference in the environment, in the characters, in everything. Like, the colors pop.
Fair. I'm not going to take away from that. It looks good. The upgrade, and we're at that stage anyway now in gaming where we get a console and then it's going to get an upgrade. We get the PS4, we get the PS4 Pro, which essentially becomes the PS4 Slim, so on and so forth. Or the Slim came before the Pro, and then same thing with Xbox. Xbox now likes to release two at the same time, so whatever. But I get it. I absolutely get it. But from an upgrade standpoint, right? We're looking at the PS5. It was what it was. Chonky boy, little hefty, little thick. Then we get the Slim, and really, we get probably a little better cooling from a design standpoint, and then what? Nothing. And then from there, we get the Pro, which is some actual technical upgrades. Whether people see them or not is a whole separate beast. But functionally, the console works.
Yeah.
Functionally, the console works. Of course, you get your controller with some stick drift. That happens. If you play in the game, you're gonna get stick drift.
Yeah.
That's undeniable. Like PlayStation, Xbox, whatever. Same thing with Xbox, though. We get minor upgrades across console generations, but functionally it works.
Yeah.
Nintendo, and on top of that, it works, and it's also high-powered.
Yeah.
All right? You don't have to worry about your console bottlenecking, which is crazy to say.
Yeah.
Bottlenecking?
Yeah.
We're talking running Zelda at 20 frames per second natively on the console. Natively. That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
Because the console can't keep up with it. Or if it can't keep up with it, I know with Pokemon, what was it, Scarlet and Violet or Sword and Shield, people were saying it was not utilized. What's the word? Optimized. That's why I said utilize. It wasn't optimized well. People were saying Scarlet and Violet, Sword and Shield weren't optimized well, which is why it didn't run as good. But come on, man. Even when we are talking about optimized games, we're getting frame rate drops in the low 30s. Well, it runs at 30. We're getting frame rate drops into the 20s.
Yeah.
In some of these games.
Yeah.
That don't make no sense.
It doesn't. It to be honest, it doesn't make sense. Games that were made for the Switch only. Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom specifically. Beautiful game. But in some areas is poorly optimized.
But those are my facts. That's why I believe that Nintendo is outdated, man. All right? They don't care about their competitive scene, which is extremely integral in this day and age's gaming world. All right? Their core demographic is not even the family, not even the friendly in the family. All right? Their core demographic, they're 5 to 18. They're not even playing the console. It's us, bro.
Yeah,
it's us. It's everyone that grew up with the Switch and everyone that grew up with the Super Nintendo. All right, it's all of them. We are the core demographic. The kids don't even care about the Switch. They don't care. And the hardware, while I do not accept it, and I agree that they shouldn't upgrade it for cost, it is unacceptable that the Joy-Cons are the way they are. I'm still operating at 1080 and an OLED 1080, which is still crazy to me. All of that together is why I think that Nintendo is outdated.
Well, I mean, I agree with some points, but I don't think Nintendo's ever going to be outdated just because of the family standpoint. And again, he's right again, just because it does gear towards us. Yeah, he's right. It gears towards us because we grew up with it, man. Like, this is our childhood.
Agreed.
That's been upgraded throughout the years.
Agreed.
So I just don't agree with them being outdated, man. Because
Agree to disagree.
agree to disagree.
Anyways, man, what do y'all think? Is Nintendo outdated, or is Nintendo still in the hearts and minds the king of video gaming? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit that like button and let us know. Am I right?
I am.
Is Sage right? Let us know in the comments what you think. Is Nintendo outdated? Yes or no? Thank you for joining us on Trial by Fandom. Once again, I am Goblin,
I'm Sage.
and we are tuning out.